One day tariffs are on, tariffs off, tariffs on, tariffs off. Then how do you manage that?
So you stay your hand.
Yeah, so you just buy and hold.
How are you guys doing? We hope you had a great Easter weekend. Do you do kite? Have you ever flown a kite?
Not for you keep thinking I'm Antigua, right?
Oh yeah.
I was born in Haiti. My significant other is from Antigua.
He has more say in this. So you've flown a kite before?
I have.
So have you ever made a kite? No,
I have in school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What? I am quite amazed at that your kite flying abilities. So back home where I'm from, in Guyana, we do it's a grand festivity for Easter, flying the kites and all of that, and getting caught in a tree or on the electrical wires, unfortunately, and so forth. Right? So it's a big thing.
Yeah. Well, for us, when my kids were little, we had the Easter egg hunt.
Oh,
And we would place Easter eggs all over the house, in the backyard. And their main thing was to go find as many Easter eggs, and then at the end of the day, eat all the chocolate Easter eggs.
all you had to do is put the Easter egg on your head. It blends right in.
The Easter egg was white.
Okay, we're talking about news today. Bank of Canada last Wednesday announced a 2.75%. They're staying.
So
they're staying the rate. Why are they staying the rate? What was the reason that they gave?
Well, main reason is because of all that uncertainty on in the U.S. The main thing to kind of consider, it's almost like when you're playing poker, you don't want to put all your chips, or when you're going to the casino, you don't want to put all your chips all at once, because once you've gone all in, you've got nothing left to kind of counterbalance whatever's going to come out of our neighbors to the south. So right now, it's just like a holding pattern. Let's see what's going to happen with our neighbors to the south, and let's see if we need to do anything. And at the moment, they decided to just pause and let's wait and see approach.
So you're a good poker player?
Not at all. Look at his face.
I have a face. I don't know how to play poker. I was just gonna say we have a TF team poker
night.
Yeah, but
No, I'm gonna lose all my money. All my.
You already don't have enough.
That's
so
correct.
We're gonna lose.
Correct.
So Bank of Canada staying the rates. This is because they're afraid maybe due to the tariffs we might face some inflation pressures. So we're keeping the rate there. We don't want to lower it.
Well, yeah.
So people spend more, borrow more.
Well, think about it. One day tariffs are on, tariffs off. So how do you predict and how do you manage that?
So you stay your hand.
Yeah. So you just buy and hold.
And
just stay there and wait and see approach.
Okay. But Honda's not waiting. What's happening with Honda?
Well, it all depends on who you believe.
Okay.
Right? So some people are saying misinformation. I mean, the story is the Nikkei, kind of a newswire, came out and basically said that Honda is considering moving all most of their facility to comply with the U.S. tariffs. So they were gonna produce all of their North American cars out of the U.S. and as a result of that, considering moving out of Alliston, Ontario, and that would be a big blow to Alliston. Yeah. Because that is they kind of built, well, not that they built the town, but the town main employer is Honda, and all the feeder parts, right? All the suppliers are also not that far off in Alliston, so that would be a major blow.
And we saw the same thing happen when Ford left.
I mean, not Ford, GM.
GM, sorry.
That's right.
Apologies.
When GM left, the Oshawa were decimated. Then they kind of came back, but not to the full strength, not to the same extent. But here's the thing. Here's where the misinformation. So when that came out, of course, everybody is panicking. Our elected officials are also panicking. So Honda put out a press conference, a press release, which basically said, "Hey, we're not leaving. Right? We're not leaving. So there's nothing to worry about." But here's what I say: the fact that Honda is thinking about leaving, it's kind of the right thing to do for a corporation. You should always have a contingency plan, right? So now they have a contingency plan for their contingency, because nobody saw that. Nobody saw that coming. So it is a prudent thing to do, to say, if Donald Trump and the U.S. increases their tariffs similar to what they're doing to China, what's what hand do we play? So
Right.
yes, they're saying for now that they're not leaving, but just in case, don't rest assured that they're going to be there for the long term. Again, sorry, I'm monopolizing this topic, but here's the thing: I don't want people to worry that much because Alliston, the plant and the people in Alliston, they're the most efficient auto workers in the world. They have a 96.5% efficiency kind of
Wow.
rating.
Amazing.
So, and they're basically at max capacity at 96.5%. And they're producing all those cars. So think about if they were to move to the US, you don't have a plant overnight,
That's right.
right? And you don't have the supplier network built up overnight. So, yeah, it will take about 2 to 3 years for them to kind of move, if that's what's going to happen, to move their operation. So, for right now, I think the people of Alliston should rest assured that, you know what, Honda is here to stay because their big sellers, the Honda CRV and the Honda Civic in Canada, the biggest seller are made out of Alliston,
Okay.
right? So therefore, I don't see that changing in the short term. In the long term, who knows? But having said that, our neighbor to the south, in 3 years to 4 years, things can change
Things could change.
all over again.
Or things could possibly remain the same.
It could. So you
Right.
don't want to
But
go
that's where you
all
have
in.
the contingency.
Exactly.
That's why you have an emergency fund.
Exactly. Exactly. Hey, look at this guy. That is so if I'm an auto worker, right, I am thinking of having an emergency fund. Not the 3 to 6 months that we talk about, maybe now 6 to 12 months, because you want to be able to control what you can control. You can't control what's happening out of of the US, and you can't control what corporations are going to do or not do. What you could control is putting money aside for that rainy day.
That's right. Excellent. Excellent point. So we're done with Honda. Let's move now to April 28th, which is not far from where we are today. And what's happening on April 28th? It's your birthday?
It's my birthday. I'm going to party like it's my birthday. No, no. No, it's the election. And again, we're not here to tell you who to vote for. We're here to tell you to vote, right? A lot of people died for our right to vote. And you still have a lot of people in so many countries who would die to have the ability to cast their ballot and vote for the person or persons that will best represent their particular interests. So by all means, please do so.
And you're voting for federal along with within your constituency.
Exactly. So really, a lot of people when they think of the liberal or the conservative government or even the NDP, and to a certain extent the Greens, they think of the party leaders. So the Mark Carney for the liberal, Pierre Poilievre for the conservative, Jack Minsent the for the NDP, and the Green. They have two leaders, right? And the second person, or his name escapes me, and even the lady, her name also escapes me. I see her picture in my head, but I can't recall. So I guess you know who I'm not probably voting for. But anyway, having said that, so a lot of people they think of the leaders, but it's also the person in your writing that will represent your interests that you've got to also consider.
So vote, vote, vote.
Exactly.
And vote correctly. So you don't
Well,
want to, when I say vote correctly, I mean
because I don't
don't
think
go and make a mistake on the ballot. Make your vote count.
exactly, because I don't think you could vote incorrectly. Whatever your vote is, even if it's for the Green Party, right? That is a correct vote for you, right? It's almost like investing, right? There's not one size fits all. Everyone is basically different. But the main thing I want people to think of is which party, which individual will be best to guide our economy, because everything centers around the economy, right? Forget about differences. Forget about Trump for a certain degree. which party, which individual will lead our economy out of the potential recession, and what strategies do they have to get us out of there? And if you could answer those two questions, right, and that particular individual or individuals in the case of the Green Party are the ones that could guide us through this morass, then by all means, go ahead.
Right. So that's April 28th.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe by April 29, we know what's going, where Canada is heading in terms of that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So we're April 28th. Now we're going to April 30. What's April 30?
Taxes.
Two things are certainly a lot.
Letter word, right? Right?
Four letters.
I know I can't count. Right?
The good thing you don't file people taxes where you do their investment.
Yeah.
All right. But April 30, we've got to file our taxes. Now, there's been some delays this year. I think it had to do with the capital gains thing going on. And all of that. People are still hustling and bustling, trying to figure out what's the right thing to put there on my tax return.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
Well, one, it appears because of all the potential changes that came about on June 25th of 2024 for this taxation year, and then we got a new prime minister, and then he put a kibosh to all of those tax changes, or most of those tax changes for June 25th. CRA was mal-equipped to deal with those type of issues, and as a result of that, there's a delay in receiving the right T5s and so on. So now what they're saying is that they're kind of going to let that April 30th date slide. So if you file after April 30th, there won't be penalties. But take that with a grain of salt. If you could still file by April 30th, please file by April 30th on time. And if there is an error because you didn't get the right slip, at least you filed on time. Yeah. And there won't be a penalty. And then you could amend it afterwards.
And did you get your final carbon tax check? Yeah.
No, I think it's April. Did you get yours?
I think I did.
Okay. I guess lunch is on you then today.
Yeah.
Right?
It's in my TFS.
It's in your a good man.
So thank you, Pierre, for being here. And hopefully we will have more news to share with you next week. But thank you so much for tuning in today. We will obviously leave you with to subscribe, like, and of course call this guy here for a free consultation, right? On your financial plans.
Free. Then everybody's going to call me. Oh, God. All right. You said it, so might as well.
We'll give them free until April 3rd. So if you don't file your taxes, at least call this guy to get your things ready for, summer's coming. You need a vacation. You need to open a TFSA, right?
There you go.
There you go. Thank you. We'll catch you on the next one.